Hi, everyone. Jane Monreal here with you at 10:04. We're going to put a pin in Danielle Stein's coverage of the game and Bryce Young and everything. Carolina Panthers, because, as expected, like clockwork, House Speaker Johnson and GOP leadership speaking now on the government shutdown. Latest comments here coming up live on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Hundreds of billions of dollars. We have federal workers who are desperate for pay and uncertain when they will get their next paycheck. You got families wondering if they'll go without food assistance next month because many people rely upon that. New federal loans and disaster aid have come to a complete halt, and the stewards of our nuclear defense stockpile are being sent home on furlough. Think of the implications of all this. All of it hurts the economy, it hurts our national security, and it hurts the American people, and the Democrats seem not to care. I was watching Republican Senate Majority Whip Barrasso this morning on an interview, and he said it, I think, very succinctly. He said the Democrats are practicing the politics of pain. I'm not sure I could say that any better. That's exactly what it is. And you think of what's happening right now. Think of what they have demanded in exchange as a ransom, the hostage they've taken to reopen the government. They're demanding taxpayer-funded health benefits be restored to illegal aliens. They're demanding that we spend billions of dollars overseas for ridiculous programs that the American people do not support. They want to claw back the $50 billion that we just got signed into law on July 4th to support our rural hospitals and all sorts of other crazy things. They're demanding taxpayer-funded health benefits for illegal aliens instead of agreeing to pay our men and women in uniform and provide vital health services and all the things that our most vulnerable Americans depend upon. It is unforgivable. And this is an indisputable fact. Everybody can see this, and everybody in this room knows what I'm about to say is true. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are terrified of their far left base in New York and around the country. So they have given in to their demands to shut down the government so that they themselves can get the left's approval and somehow salvage their political careers. That is the whole story in one sentence, okay? That's why Schumer said shamelessly that every day of the shutdown gets better for us. Who's the us? He's talking about he and Hakeem and the Democrats who are afraid of the far left base. So today I want to put a finer point on some of the very real consequences we're seeing and what they mean for Americans around the country. And I'll zoom in on some of these key Democrat states where the senators continue to dig their heels in and vote against opening the government. Yesterday from NBC News, here's the headline: Air traffic control staffing issues cause flight delays across the country. The Secretary of Transportation said 53% of flight delays are now due to staffing issues, and usually that number is 5%. From Colorado, food banks face growing crises as shutdown impacts become a reality. That's the headline from Sky High News. What are Colorado's two Democrat senators doing? You've got Hickenlooper and Bennett. They have both now voted 11 times to keep the government closed. Virginia, here's the headline yesterday, KSL. Virginia employees fear shutdown's impact on veterans' medical care. And meanwhile, their two Democrat senators, Tim Kaine and Mark Warner, have voted repeatedly to put their thumb in the eye of those veterans, and they won't end this pain. From Hawaii, Hawaii News Now says, headline, government shutdown impacts telehealth for seniors in Hawaii. Seniors in Hawaii rely upon telehealth. Guess who's shutting it down? Their two Democrat senators, Brian Schatz and Mazie Hirono, voted again and again to keep the government closed and disrupt the health services for seniors in their own state. They've got a lot to answer to. From California, here's a headline, ABC 7 News. Alameda food banks step in to help TSA workers, families impacted by government shutdown. That is disgusting. And both of California's senators, Padilla and Schiff, have voted 11 times to block the pay of those TSA agents and their families, the paychecks they rely upon. From Illinois, WIFR, yesterday, federal courts in northern Illinois reduce operations due to government shutdown. The courts are reducing operations, and you've got Illinois Democrats, Senators Duckworth and Durbin have voted to keep the government closed. We could do this all day long. That's a sample. Democrats used to care about the harm that shutdowns caused hardworking Americans, but now we can all see very clearly that was always based on politics and not principle. because they have thrown the principle out the window. And yesterday, there was an article from The Hill that laid bare that very fact. A Democrat senator was speaking anonymously and admitted, quote, people are going to get hammered if they vote for the House passed bill to reopen the government. The clean, nonpartisan CR, they're going to get hammered. Another insider said in that same story, quote, we would have enough votes to reopen the government if people were not terrified of getting the guillotine, okay? They mean it metaphorically, but in a political sense, that's exactly what they're concerned about. And think about the fact that we're just laying out here. These are simple facts. We come out here every morning and remind the American people of what's going on. Do not let them distract you from the facts. The American people would have an open government if Democrats were not terrified of their radical base. That is the headline. Every single one of you should write that. And that's the ugly truth. The Democrats are not governing in good faith. They're covering their own tail. They're out here decrying the so-called forthcoming health care crisis, they say. It's the one that they themselves created. The Democrats created Obamacare. They're the ones that created a subsidy with an expiration date. They're the ones that did all of this. Republicans are trying to fix it. And they're trying to blame Republicans for the crisis they themselves created. They cry foul when we won't bail them out of their own shutdown. I don't have anything to offer, as I've explained. I don't have any partisan priority I can pull off of the CR to make it more palatable for them. There's nothing to negotiate. They just have to do what they've always done in the past, that they did 13 times during the Biden administration, and they did as recently as March of this year, to open the government so that people can get their services and their paychecks. And they go before cameras incredibly, and they just lie to the American people over and over. It's a stunning thing to watch. It's time to stop the political games. The Democrats have got to stop this so that we can get back to the work here. For the sake of the American people, I hope they do. I hope Democrats finally come to their senses soon and the pain will end so we can reopen the government and get back to the hard work here. Let me say this. Now, while congressional Democrats continue their dangerous political games, the bipartisan House Committee on Oversight is conducting its investigation into the heinous crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. And it has continued. It has not stopped during the government shutdown. You have some of the, as I like to say, some of the toughest bulldogs in Congress on the Republican and Democrat side who are united in this cause for maximum transparency of the Epstein files. I'm for that. Chairman Comer is for that, the Oversight Committee chair. You'll hear from him in a moment. All these leadership team are, all the Republicans in the House are for maximum transparency and always have been. My good friend, Chairman James Comer, is going to give you an update on that shortly, but I just want to make a couple of key points very clearly before I bring him up here. Congressional Democrats are rudderless right now. I don't know how else to describe it. They don't have a message, they don't have a leader, they don't have any identifiable set of policy solutions for the problems facing the American people. Their party continues to hit all-time historic lows in poll after poll after poll, and many of you have reported on that. These are objective facts. They're utterly lost as a party, and everybody can see it. So what are they doing? They see a shiny object, and they latch onto it. Democrats did not say one word about the Epstein files for the entire Biden presidency. They had all the files in the Biden DOJ. They didn't say a word about it. 4 years, not a word. And suddenly now they somehow convince themselves that the Epstein files will be damaging to President Trump and Republicans in some way that they've imagined. And so they feign outrage. Let me be very clear about this. I've met with some of the Epstein victims, some of these brave women who've come forward. They were here on Capitol Hill, as you all know. We heard their stories. It's gut-wrenching. It's disgusting what they've been made to go through, and they bravely came forward. We're working around the clock to ensure that justice is served, and also as part of the oversight to figure out why justice has been delayed for so long. All credible information we will ensure is released to the public, and we also, at the same time, are fulfilling our responsibility to protect the innocent victims. By the witnesses' own testimony, these ladies who've come forward, they estimate there may be as many as 1,000 young women who were subjected to these heinous crimes. And many of them have chosen not to come forward and show their faces and reveal their names because it would compound the harm that they've already suffered. And so we want to protect those people. That's the sum total of all of this. That's our responsibility. And short of that, we want maximum transparency, and that is exactly what the American people are getting right now. That oversight investigation, they're working around the clock, and here's what the latest update, if you're not keeping track. They have now subpoenaed and released 43,000 pages of documents. They have subpoenaed and released DOJ and Epstein estate documents, with more to come. They've issued 11 deposition subpoenas, and they've released Bill Barr's deposition transcript. Just a few days ago, they released the transcript from the interview with Alexander Acosta. They requested and begun to receive suspicious activity reports from the Treasury Department, and the department has fully cooperated in that. And they published letters from Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, and James Comey stating they had no knowledge or information related to the committee's investigation. Those documents include the ones that were released on Friday of last week, okay? The Epstein estate documents include his personal phone logs, his travel logs, his financial records, the ledgers that many people have been wanting to see, and even his daily calendar. The investigation and continued document release is ongoing even as we speak. And let me say this clearly as well. The Bipartisan House Oversight Committee is already accomplishing what the discharge petition, that gambit, sought, and much more. The Epstein estate files that have been this new treasure trove, the third batch of information released right now, was not even included in the discharge petition. Didn't even think of it. And again, the investigation is bipartisan, it's nonstop, and it's far broader in scope than what is covered by the discharge petition, and has already yielded significant results. Unfortunately, some Democrats, and sadly even a couple of Republicans, have tried to make this a political issue. And they seem to be more interested in trying somehow to lay a glove on the president than in securing justice for these victims, and I think that is shameful. But as Chairman Comer will tell you, the work of the bipartisan investigation continues, and we brought him here to share with you some of those thoughts. Chairman Comer, thank you for your hard work, and take it away.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As Speaker Johnson already said,
All right,
today
before
marks the
the
21st
next speaker
day
here
of
with
the
House
Schumer
Speaker
shutdown.
Johnson now wrapping up
Democrats'
his
political
opening
gains are
statement as the
hurting
government shutdown is into day 21, just about 3 weeks now. We're going to take a quick break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. More with the live press conference happening out of Washington in 2 minutes.